From Toronto,
Thank you, Speaker. My question to the Premier. Last week we asked the Premier to provide a guarantee that hydro rates wouldn't go up as a result of her plan to privatize Hydro One. We didn't get an answer. In fact, the Minister of Energy said last week he had no idea how Hydro One would be managed if it was privatized. If the government has no idea how Hydro One would be managed, how can the government prevent costs from going up?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't have the transcript in front of me, but I think the Minister of Energy was probably saying that you didn't have any idea how the Hydro One would be managed. But, Mr. Speaker, what I know is that this line of questioning intensified on the very day that we announced the Ontario Electricity Support Program, Mr. Speaker, which is a program to give some relief to the lowest income citizens in this province, Mr. Speaker, lowest income residents. I would have thought that the NDP would have been concerned, Mr. Speaker, and would have been supportive of such a program. I know that they're not supportive, Mr. Speaker, of making a change in our assets. I know they're not supportive of investing in transportation infrastructure, in transit and roads and bridges across the province, Mr. Speaker. I don't know why they're not supportive of that, but they're not supportive, Mr. Speaker. But I would have thought that they would have been supportive of a program that would help the lowest income residents in this province, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, last week we learned that the CEO of Hydro One last year earned more than 3.5 times as much money as the Premier herself. The government has done a poor job at controlling executive salaries. But if Hydro One is privatized, the government will have even less control over executive salaries and less control over hydro costs. How can the government control executive salaries and hydro costs when it's giving up oversight and control with this misguided privatization scheme?
So, Mr. Speaker, this whole gambit and this whole debate would be much more rational if the NDP actually had a plan for any of this. If they had a plan to build transit, Mr. Speaker, if they had a plan for the electricity system. You know, the National Post on March 6, 2014 talked about the energy plan, so-called, that the NDP put forward, and the National Post said that the NDP's energy plan veers straight into crazy talk, Mr. Speaker. The fact is that there is no consistency in terms of what the NDP is asking for, Mr. Speaker. They haven't put forward a coherent plan, neither for an electricity system that would be reliable and affordable, nor for investments in transit that would give us the 21st century infrastructure that we need across the province. Until they have those plans, Mr. Speaker, it's pretty hard to debate with any kind of credibility.